Hi, mamas. It's Isabel, your mother's empowerment coach. I'm so happy to be here with you for another Wise Woman Wednesday. Today, I'm here with Muneera, and we're going to be talking about how we can use our breath as a tool to help us relax in times of anxiety or overwhelm. And I'm really excited because Muneera has a unique take on this. So thank you, Muneera, for being here with us today. I'm so happy to have you. And before we dive in, would you just introduce yourself so the mommies can get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Isabel, for having me here. Super honored to be here to share. Hi, everyone. Um, really happy to hear about this group that you guys have running. How awesome to see such support for the postpartum period, which I think is the most important part of the childbearing stage of life. So I'm Muneera Wallace. I live in Vancouver, BC. I'm a mother of two children. Mine are 11 and 8, my two girls. They're lovely children, but they have been challenging as well. So I've accumulated some tools over the years. I'm also a doula by trade, and I've worked with many childbearing families over the last 12 years, served a few hundred families in the lower mainland here in Vancouver. I'm also an Ayurvedic wellness counselor. I do lifestyle, diet, herbs, and general well-being coaching from the Ayurvedic perspective. And so I bring some of that with me here today. And also I come from India. That's where I grew up. I'm steeped in the tradition, and I bring my cultural heritage.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you again for being here. Let's just go there.
Yeah.
Share your wisdom with us.
Okay, so from having had kids myself and also having been with so many families, I've kind of distilled down my tips to 3 main tips. And I'm going to just give them to you here and we'll talk a little bit more about them. But the first one is about rest. It's about resting as often as you can, wherever the opportunity arises. This is so crucial because it's the one thing that we forget as women to do. It's so natural to us to sacrifice ourselves for everyone else and put ourselves last. And it's the one thing you have to be careful about in the first few years after having a baby. Because if you can't take care of yourself and you're not rested, then you have very little to give to all the people who are depending on you. And it's tricky. This one is tricky because it's not what we do by default. And a lot of us are now having babies a little bit later, and we have our lives a certain way. We're used to a certain amount of control. We like to have our house a certain way, right? And it gets harder and harder to give up the control and just say, no, I'm going to rest instead.
Yes.
So this is my first message to all moms out there, is start to see where you can let things go and prioritize your rest. And it could mean, 20 minutes of a lie down in bed. You may not fall asleep when your baby's napping. Or it could mean you've dropped your kid off to a class and you have 45 minutes before you pick her up again. And maybe you can sit in the car and do some breathing exercises. That's rest too. Rest is all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So just find your way of resting and incorporate rest into your routine.
So rest isn't necessarily sleep, in other words.
Yeah. Ideally it's sleep, but it isn't always when you're a mom.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And resting the body is very useful. Sometimes just laying down or sitting still. Resting the mind can be a really simple trick because we're often racing and we're spinning depending on your personality type again, right? In Ayurveda, we talk about the 3 kind of different energies, and we all have different amounts of them, but some people tend to have more mental energy, and it's very hard to calm a racing mind, especially when you're overextending yourself all the time.
Yes.
So that person has to pay particular attention to the mind.
Yes.
That person I would recommend, in those moments where you will not be able to fall asleep in a 20-minute window, no way. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of person I would say use some breathing and just take, it's a rest, it's not a sleep. But then you come out where your mind is just a little bit more calm, a little bit more grounded, and then you go on with a bit more resource.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. I love this so much. I wish I had spoken to you 7 years ago, because you just described me to a T. I was one of these moms who, when my baby rested, I wanted to clean the house or answer an email or write a thank you note. And it was really hard for me to rest.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really value it. And then I burned out. And so
Yeah.
this advice is really one to take to heart. It's like, and not always easy to rest. Sometimes people say, just relax. And
Yeah.
we need some more tools often in this chaotic world to help us to relax. Yeah.
And Isabel, I'm going to be completely transparent. I had trouble applying this myself because I'm a doer as well.
Yes.
And I'm a perfectionist, and I'm to an extent, a control freak.
Yep.
And so for people like that, who know that this is, yes, it's great in theory, but how am I actually going to do it?
Yes.
My recommendation is just go for like a small bite-sized change in your day, right? Don't try on day one to lay down and do a 40-minute breathing practice. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
But try to just notice one moment when you're triggered or when you can't calm down, and just grab that one moment and do one deep breath.
Yes.
Like, it just starts there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The way you're going to keep doing this is if you feel how it feels. It doesn't happen here. It happens in your entire body.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And so I just want to encourage the moms watching, maybe look at your schedule now and schedule in, even if it's just 5 minutes of rest. And sounds like we're going to maybe go into some ways that we can do that, but just like schedule it right now. And then also consider just putting it in, like dropping it in those moments when that's the last thing that would be natural for you to do. I know I'm going to do that in my day today. I'm going to remember, when I feel anxious that my kids are screaming in the back seat, just going to take one deep breath.
Yeah. Sometimes I put in an alarm on my phone just for a time in the day where I know that I'll have a window, but I may not remember to do a set-your exercise. And then it rings, I'm like, oh, yes. And then I take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do the second. Okay. My second tip is ask for help.
Yes.
Yeah, all moms out there. It's the hardest thing for many of us to do. I know it. I'm the same. But it's a time when you need to ask for help. And there are so many people in your community who want to help. They just want to be given a chance to do something for you. You're not putting them out in any way by asking. It's actually, the way I look at it is it's creating a deeper, more rich network around you. Because you asking for help gives them permission to ask you for help back one day. Yeah. And the blessings that a person feels and receives when they help someone else, that benefit is bigger than anything. You're giving them a gift by giving them a chance to help you, because they get the blessing, right? And for you, it's about acknowledging that you can't do everything, right? Which is where we have to come to as moms. It's the surrender. It's the surrender that happens in labor when you're like, this journey is bigger than me, and you give up to it. And you do it again when you have small children. You say, this is because we weren't meant to ever parent in nuclear family situations. That's a new age construct. And if you're doing it by yourself, then recruit all the people around you who love you and want to help you. Right?
Yep.
I grew up in a joint family. I'm telling you, my mom and dad, they did a fraction of the parenting. I would sleep with my grandparents. My aunt was feeding me. My elder siblings are watching me. Like, it's different in many parts of the world.
Yes.
And here we are in these certain Western countries that we're struggling to do it all ourselves.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way.
Yep.
So it requires, and I know this, it requires sometimes really putting aside the ego or putting aside that self that doesn't want to be weak, right?
Yep.
Doesn't want to be perfect, doesn't want to be imperfect, and then asking for help. So yeah, that's my second.
I want to say something about that because I love your analogy and your comparison to labor, because I know many women in labor resist the surrender because it feels scary to let go. It feels like we want to be in control, and sometimes to be in control, we close off. When in labor, the way to, progress is to open and to surrender and to soften, and yet we resist it. And I find I do the exact same thing in my parenting sometimes. I feel like I need to be more rigid and clench down, when your suggestion is really soften, be vulnerable. There's strength in vulnerability, and asking for help is part of that. And we need to open rather than like close down and go lone wolf.
Totally. Thanks for that perspective. That's exactly it.
So softening, asking for help is part of the softening of like, I can't do this alone. And I am a great mom and I can't do this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a great mom for asking.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it. Okay, what's next?
The next one was, well, I almost feel like these 2 points are great. Let's just jump into our breathing.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So here's what I have learned from my various studies, is that, like we were talking about it, rest doesn't always come as sleep. And as moms, we don't have those windows to have 2-hour naps. And so the best we can do to try and balance through the day is to the yogic system of the mind and body balancing and fusing together, right? The yoga, so to speak. So there are a few breathing techniques, and a lot of you moms out there might already be doing these. I just want to remind you of them if you aren't using them in your day-to-day life. The Ujjayi breathing, the Ujjayi breath. Do you know this one, Isabel?
I do. I love it.
Yeah. It is the default that all yogis go to when they need to calm, right? And Ujjayi breath is just a certain deeper way of breathing, and we'll do it together in a second. But it's basically, it's like almost like directly putting a rein on a bunch of raging horses and bringing them in and calming them down. It's like what is the effect it has. And if you moms are anything like me, you'll know that feeling where the mind is going in 11 different directions at the same time. And it all feels like too much, and you just can't find your center in that moment, right? So this breathing exercise we'll do together. You can do it sitting upright. If your babies and kids aren't anywhere here and you want to lie down, it's a great way to do it too. If you have a small baby sleeping in bed beside you and you have only 20 minutes and you're not going to fall asleep, this is something you can lay down beside your baby and just fall into this breathing. I guarantee you'll come out feeling a good 40% more rested than you were before you did it, right? If not more.
Yes.
So now I don't know how clear the volume is on this, the sound is. This breathing requires a little bit of a constricting at the base of the throat, and it makes a kind of a Darth Vader kind of sound, right? So let me just do a demonstration and then we'll do it together, right? So I'm going to inhale, exhale, could you hear that, Isabel?
I could hear it, yes.
You could hear it.
I
Awesome.
could hear it.
So I did it a bit louder so that it could carry me through, but it doesn't have to be that loud. In yoga philosophy, so you just need to do it loud enough that only you can hear it, right?
Like a whisper.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe everyone who's joining on this call can now try this out. And so sit upright in your chairs.
And mamas, I want to really encourage you to do this with us. So rather than watch us do it, join us. You don't have to have your eyes open for this, right, Muneera? They can close their eyes and just listen to your words. They don't necessarily have to watch you.
I encourage you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to be closing my eyes too. So join us, and you'll leave our time together feeling renewed and refreshed if you join us. So I hope you do. Okay.
So let's all close our eyes and just take a moment to settle into our bodies. A couple of simple breaths, natural breaths in and out. Just bring your awareness to your breathing. The whole world can go on as it is, and all we're going to do is take a few minutes to breathe. Just by sitting here and watching your breath, you might notice that your breathing pattern changes. It generally tends to slow down when you start to watch it. You might feel like you want to go a bit deeper. You might want to extend your belly out a bit more, really inflate your chest. On your next exhale, try to exhale a bit deeper than you usually do. Really pull your abdomen inward and empty your lungs completely. Now let's try this Ujjayi technique. So as you start to inhale, you will constrict the base of your throat and make a heavy breathing sound, like a whisper. Not to worry if you don't get it right away. Just keep trying to find that spot until you get the heavy breathing sound. Now what we'll do is, hopefully you all have that sound coming with you as you breathe. After we inhale, we'll just hold our breaths for the slightest pause, maybe a 2-second pause. And we'll do the same after we exhale. As you continue, notice your face softening, your eyes relaxing in their sockets. Maybe your back muscles let go a little bit. Keep on doing the breathing. I'd like us to try one more thing while we do this Ujjayi breath. Let us try to extend our exhale so it's longer than the inhale. This has a specifically calming effect on the system, and you can do an exhale that's 30% or longer than the inhale. So breathe in, pause, and now make your breath come out a bit slower than the last one. Try it again. Keep going. As you extend the exhale, you'll naturally notice your inhale will get a bit shorter. That's fine. And because we're constricting the base of the throat, we can control the length of the breath a little bit. So that's why this technique is so useful. So let's do a few more of these. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Keep going. For those of you who want to make sure you're doing it correctly or you enjoy counting, you can count your breaths. You can count the number of counts it takes for an inhale and then make sure that you're doing an exhale that's longer. Just a slow counting, something like, let me demonstrate. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Something like that. It'll be different for everybody depending on your breathing pattern, but it can be a good starting out place. Let's just do a couple more breaths before we finish up. Keeping your eyes closed now, just let your breathing go back to its normal pattern. When you're not doing Ujjayi breath, just your normal way of breathing, let it come back. And just take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice how you're holding your body. Possibly notice a change in the speed of your thoughts. You might find everything's moving a bit slow. might find that you've connected into a reserve of joy, of peacefulness. Maybe you feel like everything that seemed so pressing and important before you started breathing isn't quite as pressing and important. Maybe you have a bit more energy and time to do all the things that have to go on now. Slowly open your eyes when you're ready. Come back to the room.
Thank you so much. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost hard to talk after feeling so relaxed and so grounded.
Yeah. And so, yeah, there's a great calming effect. And sometimes this is a great sleep aid for moms who have trouble falling asleep.
Yeah.
After this, you might feel like you could have a sleep that's deeper or get to it quicker, right?
Yeah. I know.
Um,
I felt, I don't know if you could hear my kids in the background, a little bit after we started, but I noticed some irritation arise during our breathing, but it was almost as if I was in a little bubble and the irritation was just outside the bubble. And it didn't like penetrate as deeply as it might have had I not felt like so grounded. So thank you for keeping me from that. Yeah, and it almost slows everything down so that I didn't have to go into that snap. Stop it,
Yeah.
So it's good to remember now that's in my muscle memory. And so if I want to feel this way again, I know how I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have done this breathing with kids crawling all over me.
Yeah.
My toddlers and babies. Because there's a thing with babies. As soon as they notice that you've taken your energy and focus away from them, they come running after you, right? They're like, hey, where did mama go? And so sometimes my baby's like sitting on me or like holding onto my back and I can still do my breathing.
Yeah.
And just hang out for a minute. They know. Yeah.
And it's good for them to see us taking care of ourselves.
Definitely.
It's a gift to them as well.
Yeah. This is a great first breathing for all of you. I have more. Maybe I'll come back one day and share another breathing exercise that I love so much.
I'm so excited. So this is a preview. There's lots more to come.
There's lots more to come.
That's so great.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions about this, please feel free to contact me, email, phone, whatever you prefer. I'm on social media. Isabel, you will share my contact information.
I will. Why don't you just say it here too, and we'll make sure to include it as well.
Yeah, okay. My website is radiantlivingvancouver.com.
Great.
And my telephone number, my email address, everything is on there. So if you have comments or questions, at any point, it's radiantlivingvancouver.com.
And you can leave a comment below here as well with questions. And thank you.
That's right, because I have joined the group, so I can also just answer questions in the group if you want. Totally.
That's right. Yes. So thank you again so much. Is there anything else you want to share with us today?
I just want to say that all you moms out there, thank you for your beautiful work and keep it up. You're awesome.
Oh, amen. Okay, Muneera. Well, I look forward to connecting with you soon on another Wise Woman Wednesday.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Isabel. Until next time.